welcome back to another episode of Healthy Waves. I'm your host Avik, and today we are joined by the incredible Elizabeth De Sevo. So, welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. So, Elizabeth, like before we start our conversation, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Elizabeth is a true citizen of the world, communications and business development powerhouse, and the author of Choose Your Moments. Yes. So, her journey from managing Olympic figure skaters to reinventing her life in Madrid is inspiring enough. Yeah. But it's her personal transformation after the sudden loss of her mother, and now she's harnessed the power of mindset, neuroscience, and the law of attraction that will really touch your heart and expand your mind. So, dear listeners, get ready for an honest, uplifting, and empowering conversation on choice, resilience, and living intentionally. So, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Amazing. So, Elizabeth, like your book, Choose Your Moments, was inspired by the deep personal loss of your mother. And if you can share, like, what that period of grief taught you about the power of choice in shaping our emotional recovery.
Well, I have to say, I mean, obviously, anybody who loses anyone, whether it's a parent or anybody in your life, you definitely feel changed after that. And that was my case, especially with losing my mother, and also the way that it happened because it was so sudden. There was no preparation or what have you. And the most amazing thing really that happened to me is that it taught me the greatest life lesson, which is that life is a series of moments and we get to choose how to live them. So the first line of the book says it's inevitable that death is a part of life, but what if it was death itself that taught us how to live? And that's exactly what happened to me. So, although it's tragic in losing anybody, you feel awful after that. I was really lucky in the sense that I got such a learning out of it.
That's totally 100% correct. Yes. And so, was there a moment, the pivotal moment, when you realized that you could move from simply surviving grief to actively living again?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, the way I got the message, which is in the book, is that when my mom died suddenly, of course, I started thinking, what did we do in these last few weeks, not knowing they were her last few weeks, or last few days, or last few moments. And my mind just started racing with, did she drink tea? She loved tea. Did she watch a good movie? Did she laugh? And really, what I was asking myself was, were her moments memorable or enjoyable or even meaningful? Which really reframed moments for me because often the things we think matter in life don't. All that matters are the moments. I wasn't asking the questions about, was the house clean? Did I make my bed? Did I read that last email? Did I proofread that document? Things that come in our everyday that may stress us. Really, what my focus went right into the moments of our lives. So the idea behind my book is to help to redefine the word moments from a point in time into a tool that we can use to enrich our lives. And that is requires a change of mindset. It's interesting because neuroscience tells us that we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% are the same as the day before. So imagine what we could do to our moments just by making a new choice.
That's true. That's very, very true. Yeah. I mean, I love like you emphasize moments as the opportunities because often after the loss, time can feel, I mean, meaningless. But reframing each moment as a new chance, it really resonates. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, I mean, I thought to myself, as I'm sure people do when they have a loss, and is that you think, how is life going to go on? How am I going to continue to live without this person? And it doesn't even have to be a loss of a person. That can be a divorce, a loss of a relationship, a loss of a job. You know, when your life is altered in a certain way, there is that questioning process of how can I continue? And, I feel I got that answer from my mother when she died, which was about paying attention to the moments of my life, and that, life is a series of moments and we get to choose how to live them. So the idea
Mm.
really transformed how I look at life and especially how I live my life now. There's a quote in the book that says the difference between reacting and responding is just a few seconds. And I actually had to remind myself that again when my dad went into the hospital. Well, my dad went into the hospital this past Christmas and unfortunately died a few weeks later. So when we realized that he wasn't going to recover, of course, the same panic sets in. That I'm going to lose my dad. I'm going to have no parents. What's going to, all the questions, all the grief, all the fear, all the sadness, woof, at times two, right? Because now it's the second time that you're going through it. And I really had to stop myself and say, you just wrote a book that says life is a series of moments and you get to choose how to live them. So I'm going to stop here and not worry about the future moments without my dad, without either parent, and pay attention to the moment that I'm in now, which is my last moments with him. And how do I want to spend them? What do I want to tell him? How do I want to spend these last moments with him? So we have something in the US called hospice when someone is dying. I don't know what it's called in Europe, or either in India, but,
Mm.
um, so we knew that it would be a matter of days, and I wanted to really cherish those moments. So I decorated the room with pictures of our family and friends and people his family. We had teddy bears and plants and people coming in and out and things like that
Mm.
to really make the most out of those moments. And I'm so glad that I did because now it's a better memory than remember him dying.
Exactly. Very true. Very true. And definitely, I mean, it's a really, really a proud moment also that y- you felt that, and you in that situation also you have executed all those things. It's really, really, I mean, it's a really hats off thing. Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's not thank you. It's not, it's something that I am trying to get people to do, which is to choose their moments and to stop themselves throughout the day and say, do I want to spend my moments thinking about this problem, having this argument? You can take it as far as, do I want to spend my moments in this relationship, in this job?
Uh,
So you never know. But the challenge there, yes, is to stop yourself and to ask yourself that question, how do I want to spend the moments of my life? So that is why I made the book. The book is full of quotes, so there's 80 quotes to reflect the 80 years that my mom lived, and on the opposite page of each quote is an explanation, so it's a way that you can see how to implement that into your everyday life.
mm,
And so you can pick up the book and read it all the way through, or you can pick up the book in one day and that's, open to any page and that's your quote. So I did quotes to try to make it easy and actionable for people. And like myself, when I remembered that specific quote and how I wanted to implement that into the situation that I was in.
so and also, like, let's talk about the law of attraction. Like, a lot of people love the idea of it, but struggle with the practice. So, how do you personally integrate the law of attraction into your daily life, especially after uh, navigating the deep loss?
Yes. Well, yes, that can be a challenge because in the law of attraction, I mean, there can be some confusion with it because it's not just you have to think positively all the time,
Mm.
right? We're human beings and we live in a world of polarity. So there's hot, cold, there's good, bad. And, we will have days when we are sad and feeling down. And obviously, if you're going through any kind of loss, whether it's a loss of a person, like I said before, divorce, relationship, job, whatever it may be, I mean, as human beings, we need to cry and to feel and process our emotions. So the law of attraction, obviously is wants you to think positively, therefore to attract things into your life. But you can go through grief and process your emotions and feel the sadness and as a human being, and then take a reframe and ask yourself how you want to continue to live your life. I mean, the important thing with the positive mindset is we can't be happy all the time, although wouldn't that be nice?
Mm.
I would like to be happy all the time, but again, life will has its ups and downs, and we have to be able to be able to navigate that. Also, with the law of attraction, I mean, it's not just the thoughts, right? The thoughts create a
True.
certain vibration and energy that you're putting out there. So if you're crying or if you're mad and you're saying, "Oh, so happy," so it's obviously
Yeah.
the universe is going to pick up on something else. Not, so the universe listens to what you feel, not necessarily to what you say. Although starting with your words is a good way to start. To be conscious of the things that you say and the things that you think, and make sure that they're really reflective of how you feel. And if they're not, try to reframe them and kind of move up that emotional scale to start to feel better.
Exactly. And like, have you ever had an experience where um, something that you visualized came into your life in a very surprising and unexpected way?
Yes, many times, actually.
Okay.
But I would start with when I was working in public relations and I was a figure skating fan. And I literally daydreamed about working with figure skaters. I remember walking to work, looking at different billboards in New York City, thinking of ideas of how figure skaters could be the ones doing this particular advertisement. And then, fast forward and some not much time after that, maybe less than a year, there I was being, the person that was representing the skaters making those specific commercial deals happen.
Hmm.
So yes, I do believe in, with the law of attraction, what you project out into the world can come back to you. And it's a matter of, feeling your way there, so to speak.
Yeah, true. Exactly. And like uh I mean if I have to ask, like, you have lived in multiple cultures and worked across so many different environments. So how have these global experiences shaped your understanding of uh, resilience and positivity? Are there any kind of cultural lessons that stood out to you, or what?
I think the idea of exploring the world more, stepping outside your comfort zone. Obviously, it's very comfortable for all of us to live in our own country, speaking our own languages, surrounded by our friends and family that we've known all our lives, right? I think it's interesting though to explore and to, I was fortunate in my career that I was able to travel to various countries and learn various cultures. I only know one other language, which is Spanish. A few words here and there in the others, but it's only Spanish that I can speak besides English. But even just understanding other languages and the cultures and the different forms of communication, I mean, it really opens up your mindset, and to see that we do all approach life differently, and we have different vantage points and different perspectives, and it's very enriching to learn more about them, because there's more opportunity for you to integrate those kind of practices or ideas into your own life. There isn't just one way, let's say. It's the same thing. We always end up with this conversation about destiny sometimes, and I always say that there's many destinies. It's the one that you line up with. So just like there's many cultures and many languages, and which one are you tuning into and which one are you living?
Oh, oh, wow. And um, like, do you feel that certain cultures have a healthier relationship with the grief and recovery than others?
I don't know if it's a cultural thing, I would say. I mean, grief is a human thing. So we all have that in common. No matter what our background is, what country we live in, what language we speak. I don't know all the grief practices of all the countries. I know that some countries have like 90-day mourning periods and things like that. It's become a practice in the US now, cremation and with in celebration of life instead of actual funerals, although we didn't do that. I went the
Okay.
traditional route, for, really for my own closure, but
Mm.
um, I think that in our fast-paced world, grief can be put aside, and we need to open up that conversation more in companies and corporations for people to realize that when somebody is grieving, and whether it's a loss of a person, a pet, a relationship, whatever that house, whatever that may be, that there is that grief period, and to allow for some time for healing and to be able to be resilient again and come back into the world because grief really can shake you to the core, especially when it's a loss of a person, expected or not expected. And it makes you look at life and start to examine things and ask yourself those big life questions. What am I doing here? Why do I want to be doing this? All of that, which
Mm.
I think it's important for us to really take the time and examine, and that which is why I brought up the concept of moments. Examine the moments of your life because life is a gift. And there's a quote in the book that says, "Where you are is a temporary place." And that can be used for grief, meaning you won't be in grief forever. And it's also, in life, we won't be in this incarnation as these people for forever.
Mm.
So how is it that you want to spend your time here? And I don't want to emphasize the scarcity of time. I really want to emphasize the immensity of time and resources that we have to live a good life. And that when you are grieving, whatever it is that you're grieving, whether it's a loss of a person or a job or what have you, that there are resources out there to help you. There's books, there's coaches, there's YouTube, there's a lot out there to be able to help us. So if we want to, we can enrich our moments at any time.
Mm. That's really fascinating, and there's so much that we can learn from other ways of grieving and uh, healing that aren't often talked about in the Western culture also. So, but yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yes, and I hope that this book will open up the conversation, especially at companies, for what do we do in times of grief. I mean, my mom died in right before Christmas, and several months later, I had an event to put together for over 200 people, and of course, my mind was not on that. Was not on the business, and but people, things happen, and we have deadlines and things, work demands, let's say. So I had to kind of reframe on how do I want to handle this? How am I going to motivate myself to get back into work? How is this going to even matter to me now? And so I used the concept of moments to do that. And it was a business event that had conferences. So I thought about that I'm creating moments of knowledge sharing and connection and networking for people. We had awards, so it could be moments of celebration as well.
Mm.
And once I put the moment frame into it, it made it easier for me to feel that inspiration again to work. And I think that we need to be mindful of that for those that are coming back into the workplace after a loss. How can we use moments to reframe and feel the excitement or the motivation or even the passion for what you're doing?
Exactly. True. Very true. Definitely. And then your journey of the reinvention, like leaving the US, changing careers, writing a book, is definitely inspiring. So, for someone who is listening who feels stuck or maybe afraid to make a change, what's your biggest piece of stepping into a new chapter with the courage? What do you say?
Well, I would say two things. There's a quote in the book
Mm,
that says, "When you take a step, the path appears." And sometimes people want to make changes, like you said, if anybody who is feeling stuck and they want to make some type of change in their lives,
mm,
sometimes just taking, and they're not sure which way to go or how to do it, sometimes just taking that first step will open up what you're supposed to do. I say again, I say this a lot in
mm,
business development, that each step creates
mm,
the next step. So that's why I put that quote in the book about when you take a step, the path appears. Perhaps a person who is feeling held back for whatever reason, when they take that first
mm.
step, they will see what the next step is and what the next step is to be able to do it and break through that fear that they may have. And also fears sometimes just shows you what you value. So if they're afraid, and I'm making it up because I don't know the specific case, but if they're afraid they won't make money, and well, okay, so that all that is saying there is just that they value having an income and they value a steady paycheck, and there's nothing wrong with that. They fear that they will fail. Okay, so you value success, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to kind of, take the power out of fear, because really all it's showing you is, okay, I value this, which makes me feeling afraid of it. And once you start to take that power away, you can empower yourself to take those next steps. There's also a
But
quote in the book that says, vulnerability is an act of courage. And sometimes you need to be a little bit vulnerable and be able to step out there and do what you want to do. I felt very vulnerable writing the book, writing my experience of what I went through when my mom died suddenly. But I felt like I had such a message that was so important to share, that I, broke through that. Well, I had a fear maybe of being judged, let's say. So it shows me that I value people thinking highly of me or something like that. So I took the step and the path appeared.
wow. Oh, lovely. That's the great one. And also, like, if there is a personal mantra or maybe the mindset shift that kept you moving forward during the uncertain times, if you can share.
For now, it's always moments. Everything to me is moments. Everything about my life is moments. Um, because I think to myself, do I want to be spending my moments doing what I'm doing? And I realize that my moments are much more precious than I ever realized. And because our lives are very precious. And I've lost both my parents now, and I really understand the preciousness of the fact that there were two people on this earth who brought me here to learn, to grow, to thrive, to expand, to enjoy, who are no longer here. So what's the best way to honor them is to learn, to grow, to thrive, to enjoy. So I keep bringing myself back into moments. That's not to say I don't have bad days. Everybody
Mm.
has bad days. That's for sure. But I do keep bringing myself back into choose your moments, because these are the moments of your lives. And in the end, the quality of our lives comes down to the quality of our moments.
Exactly. Wow. Wow. That's lovely. And I think that's a message so many of us need right now. That it's never too late to rewrite your story and choose differently. So that is the best. Yes.
Yes, I say in the book, in a world full of uh, variety and options, we have the choice to choose. So you can choose better moments and you can choose to better your moments.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely. So, Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing your incredible wisdom and
Thank
heartfelt
you.
journey with us. Yeah. And I have to say that your story is a reminder that even in the face of loss, we can find deep meaning, joy, and new beginnings by choosing our moments with the intention. So, for all the listeners, if you have the power to shape your own story moment by moment, so don't forget to check out Elizabeth's inspiring book, Choose Your Moments, and her full bio over on the website. Elizabeth, like if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the best medium?
Oh, thank you. So they can connect with me on Instagram, which is Choose Your Moments Book. I have a website, chooseyourmoments.net. And I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook under my name, Elizabeth De Sevo. And the Choose Your Moments book is available on Amazon in 15 countries.
Wow. Amazing. Lovely. So, dear listeners, I'll put the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And until next time, keep your heart open, your mind strong, and your spirit lifted. So, see you soon on other episodes of Healthy Waves. Till then, be happy, be safe. Thank you so much.